Well, hello guys on YouTube today. How are you guys today? Well, I was doing a little bit of experimenting with my equipment, with my stereo equipment. Why should you not use a grounding from your house? Well, the problem is with a grounding with your house, because your grounding is all spliced together with all sorts of different outlets inside your house, and the grounding is all different as well. But the problem is, I was doing a experiment, and I will show you what I mean. I have my experiment grounding cable here. I have made this today, but the problem is with the household grounding system, I do not recommend grounding your equipment at all. That's if you're going to be using an antenna from outdoors, if you're going to be grounding your antenna to your stereo itself. But let's go ahead and do the non-grounding and do the grounding, and kind of see, you guys can hear the difference of what my stereo is going to do, and making sure it doesn't buzz. But this is the same issue I had with my record player up there. The record player does need to be grounded, but it only grounds to the amplifier, but not to the household grounding. Alright, let's go ahead and take you guys up to my stereo receiver here. This is a Toshiba stereo receiver SA320. By the way, this does have a grounding system on it, but it's on the back. I don't know if you guys can quite see that. There's the grounding lug right over here, guys. This is where the ground will normally go. But that's if you're going to be grounding an antenna, guys. But here's the before and the after kind of sounds effect on it. Let's go ahead and turn on. Right now, you don't hear any buzzing. We're going to turn it up all the way to number 10, max out. Absolutely no buzzing. The speakers are happy, the speakers are not buzzing. But let's go ahead and attach the ground tool. Why you should not use a grounding system like I did here. I kind of made this today. I was kind of experimenting. I have a crimp connect, and I have just a regular household outlet grounding plug on it. But I don't know if you guys can see this back here. We're going to try to do this here for you guys and show you why you should not ground your equipment. Well, I'm not going to take it all the way out because I only got 2 hands. Well, I got to hold this cable, and we're going to twist this grounding lug so it bites into that crimp connect piece there. The problem is the grounding, what it does, and make sure you do have your receiver off when you're going to be doing this experiment kind of thing. But we're going to come down to my household grounding. That's with the standard 14 gauge grounding wire. And we're just going to pick a spot and then my outlet. And any outlet, it'll fit the grounding lug. This is the after grounding. If we turn the system on, you'll hear a buzz. See? There's the buzz. Let's go ahead and turn it up a little bit. You hear an awful buzzing noise in the grounding system. And let's try B, the black speakers again. Same thing. Gonna awful hear a buzzing noise. The buzzing noise, the reason why it's buzzing is the buzzing noise is coming from the household grounding inside the house. But let's go ahead and try the photo amp inside my unit. See if we get the same effects. Well, we don't get a bunch of buzzing, but we do get a bunch of hissing or static inside your speakers. Again, that's not a very good sign, no. But again, the reason why you should not ground your equipment to your household grounding system, because again, with the household grounding, because household grounding is spliced all different ways inside the house. But it does work better if you have an antenna from outside to indoors to ground to your receiver itself. Let's go ahead and take away the grounding plug. It's just a standard ground. Okay, we took away the grounding plug. We're going to set it up on top of the speaker, just like that. And let's see if we get any of the buzz. Turn all the way up. Ta-da! No buzz. See, that's one thing you want to check to make sure if your receiver does have a ground. I do not recommend grounding it, guys. Well, that's just the way this old unit used to work, but it doesn't work that way anymore. It does have two types of grounds. It has the main ground, lug, and a non-grounding up here by the AM channel. But again, like I explained to you guys before, use the grounding only for antennas, not for the household ground. If you want to ground your stereo equipment or your stereo receiver, you can do that, but you are going to probably have to run a separated ground system for your receiver itself. But let's go ahead and talk about this little ground cable I have made here. This ground cable was just a standard plug. This is a plug-in connector, soldered directly to the connector itself. It's just a standard 14 gauge wire. But the difference of grounding your system, why should you not ground your system? Well, because you don't need to. Because your grounding system will be, your stereo will be just fine without the ground. And again, here is the connector. I also crimped it and soldered it, and also put shrink tube around it as well. But that's about a bit of a different ways not to ground your stereo equipment, because the problem is with these receivers is not every receiver is going to have a ground to it. Again, a grounding lug, or you'd have to put a grounding on it and stuff like that. The problem is you're going to have to ground your if you don't have a box or a switch box like I do here, and your tape deck or your on switch or your DVD player or your CD player, if you don't have any of that, you'll probably get away with using the ground. But again, here's the non-grounding of your receiver. You can see it's no more buzzing at all, which I beat. You guys cannot hear the grounding at all, because it's no longer grounded. Again, the reason why you should not use your household ground is the household ground is all mishmashed inside the house. That's why if you're going to be using a grounding system, you're going to have to run your own dedicated grounding system to your stereo itself. Now remember, it only depends on what type of grounding system you're going to use for your receiver. Now, these only have a screw-on connector, old-fashioned twist-on lug right here, like I said before. It's just it's better not to ground your equipment because you're going to again get a lot of buzzing on your speakers. But if you're going to be using the antenna, I'd recommend grounding the antenna as well. But if you don't want to ground the antenna, you don't have to. My antenna again is not grounded because it's not an outdoor antenna. It's just a standard indoor antenna, guys. But like I said, my stereo does work. You know, kind of stuff. Works nicely neat. You gotta figure out, do you really need to ground your equipment? Well, not really. Because most devices don't have a ground on them, guys. None of this stuff normally has a ground to it. But if you really want to be safe, if you really do want to have a ground on, you can put a ground on. And by the way, this receiver is aluminum faced and also wooden and a metal chassis as well, because if I touch the wood, I'm not going to electrocute myself, but if I did touch the front of the panel, I might get shocked. But it's not going to much matter because I'm not going to try to use the ground on her because she's going to make the speakers buzz. Well, on the inside of my cabinet with my amplifier, I do have a grounding system to my record player that just helps to keep some of the buzz off the record. But I do not recommend grounding your systems, guys, or using any type of grounding on your receiver, because all it's going to do is just going to make your speakers buzz, because then your speakers are not going to be grounded right. And remember, a speaker only can do what a speaker can do, you know, play music, and it shouldn't buzz like I've shown you guys here. But a grounding issue is not because of your receiver, it's just your standard household electrical wiring grounding inside your house. That's the only difference of this receiver. And if I wanted to do ground this receiver, I can just use a dedicated grounding tool. If I bought an antenna from outdoors with the wiring and the grounding system, I can do that. That's fine. But don't try to ground it like I did, guys. You know, it's just not gonna work with just the Grip-1 Connect and the standard household outlet plug with 14 gauge wire. It's not worth it, guys. It's not worth the time or the effort to put a ground on your equipment. But yeah, she will only work without a ground, and she can also work with a ground, but the problem is you're going to get a buzz. Yeah, buzz. Silence the speakers, or no buzzing, nothing. I like it that way because it's not going to affect the way my system works. But I do have a surge protector. It's down there below, down there. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's right in that dark corner there. That is my brand new surge protector for my equipment. I'd highly recommend a good surge protector. But if you decide to do a little something different, instead of using the household electric, you can use a dedicated plug to your equipment as well. But the problem is that's going to be very expensive to do. That means you're going to be taking your drywall down, taking your wall down, trying to figure out where you can locate this new plug you're going to be putting in your wall, and how you're going to get it to your electrical panel down in the garage. But like I said, don't try to ground your equipment, because it's just not worth to try to ground it, because it's just going to buzz. But they do have outlets are designed for electronics. it has its own separated grounding system. You don't ground it to the regular house ground. You can just directly ground it to the to your electrical panel itself. But like I said, it's not worth to ground your equipment, guys. The reason why I'm saying that, because any device out there nowadays, metal or receivables or anything that's made out of metal, it's not going to have a ground on it. And the reason why you don't put a ground on it, because when you try to put a ground on it, what's going to happen? It's going to make the speakers buzz. And that's how I've shown you guys today on why you should not ground your equipment at all. Not to ground it is okay. You can use it, but again, antenna-wise, for antennas, I'd recommend grounding. But for trying to use a household electrical ground, it's not gonna work. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and also a like. Peace. Bye guys. See you in the next vlog.